there, everybody. Cindy Daychuk here with Queen Bee Creations, and today I just want to talk about lighting. Here's the thing: lamps and lighting fixtures can be just crazy expensive, and if you're trying to update your home decor on a budget, you can lose a lot of money in these babies. However, the thrift stores are full of these things. So this guy, which has a little chip on the base and is really kind of ugly colors, is the perfect shape for that little blue iris side table that I just did. Now, I don't want to do it in the blue iris. I don't want to do it in coral, but the couch, the pull-out couch in that room is in the gray tone. So kind of a neutral tone where the blue iris dresser and little side table can kind of shine. So in fitting with that, I want this to go neutral. This color is just not going to work for me, and we want to disguise this. I'm not going to worry about fixing the chip, and this works. I've tested it, but I thrifted it for $4. So, gee, you know, might I at some point want to buy a lamp that's really going to fit perfectly? Yeah, maybe. Maybe not. I could be perfectly happy. Now this one, I took a look. I have to take the whole thing apart. Oh, maybe I could do that. No, the wires. Screw that back in, Cindy. Don't take it apart. So I'm not taking it apart to get the lampshade off. You actually literally have to take this apart to get the lampshade off of it. I'm not gonna do it. So we're gonna paint it in place. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take Weathered Wood by DIY, which is a deep gray. Now mine's a little watery because it was starting to thicken up a while ago, so I put more water in. That's the beauty of DIY. So it does mean my first coat is gonna be very light, but it will form the base that my subsequent layers will stick to. So because mine's very thin right now, I'll probably need 3 coats, but I'm okay with that. I love the fact that I don't lose my paint as it starts to dry up because I haven't used it in a while. I can just go back, add more water, and reconstitute it. So I'm gonna get this first coat on, just nice and light, let it dry, and then I'll put another coat on, or 2, or 3, whatever it needs. This is such a small little lamp that it's really not a hardship. And this paint is going to be dry, you know, in the next 15, 20 minutes. So as I'm here in the shop, it's not a big deal for me to come back and put some additional coats of paint on it. But I want to get all of my layers of paint on before going to the next step. But the fun thing about this is that you are not stuck in a particular decor. You can switch out some of your items, or even just hit thrift stores and switch those items out for very little expense, which is always a win. I'd rather put my money in the things that I can't make or make over myself, like rugs or the couch. I'm not building my own couch. You can if you want to, though. Now that I've got all my coats of weathered wood on this, and it's good that I'm doing another treatment because there's some funky stuff happening with the reaction of whatever. So you can see how there's kind of discoloration. It's not going to matter because I'm going to white wax it now. So I'm taking DIY white wax and going to paint it over pretty much the whole thing. I'm just going to do the base here and I'll show you. And then we're going to wipe it back. So all those details that were in there, we're not going to lose. We're going to see those still. But what this is going to do is, because we've just got that one solid color underneath, we're doing the same treatment. Now we don't have that hodgepodge of different looks and colors and stuff. So I'm just going to take a rag and I'm going to start to wipe this back. Now, I did not seal this with clear before, so that paint is thirsty. It's going to pull some of that white into it, so it's going to get kind of a softer look. You're not going to get it right back to that full painted color on the base, which was that weathered wood from DIY, because it was unsealed. If this is too much white for your liking, then seal a piece with clear first. Now, I could get some clear and I could rub it back a little bit more, but this is a little bit more of the look that I was after. So I'm still getting some of that softness. I still can rub some more, but I'm going to carry on doing that over the whole piece to unify it. And then if I decide that I need a little bit more, I can grab some clear wax. But really, this starts to come back on its own, and you can see how it sits down in those crevices and gives you that nice weathered look. All right, now that, I mean, this has to dry still and then be buffed a little bit, but you get the idea. My shade, which doesn't ever want to come off of this, there's some tricky way of doing it that escapes me. I'm okay with that because I can work with it as it is, but it doesn't really work with this anymore, and I want to do more. So what I am going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of water, a little bit less, and I'm taking a little bit of Fusion. This is in the color Sterling, which is a little bit of a very soft kind of dove gray kind of color, and I'm just using a little tester jar because there's no reason for me to open a big honking jar for this particular project. I'm just going to water it down. I just want it fairly loose. So that was maybe half the tester for this. And I just wanted it fairly loose because I'm going to paint my shade. So I'm using this almost like a fabric stain. I'm going to get this painted, I would say likely 2 coats. Fusion has a built-in sealer, but because I have used so much water to loosen the paint up, I can't count on it being sealed, but because I have another step after this, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be sealing it afterward anyway. But I just want to do nice even strokes to be able to get the stain to go on smoothly, because in essence that's what we're doing. You can see already the difference that it makes to the overall look. So I'm going to get 2 coats of this on. 1 coat, I'm going to let it dry, or quite honestly just mostly dry, and then I'll add the 2nd coat and I will let it dry fully. So it'll have at least overnight before we come back and start working on the lampshade more. Now you could just leave it. You could just have painted out your lampshade and called it quits, and you're good there. But I have a little more that I'm going to do to it, just so that I tie in some of my colors in my room a little bit more. Now that this is all dry, we can carry on. I mean, you could stop at this stage. You could just say, oh, okay, that's perfect. That's a nice light little gray. I'm just doing more. Because it's for me and I can. So what I do have is I have the last little pieces of Collage des Fleurs transfer sheets from IOD. I had used tons of the big florals already on another project, and I just have some left. I have some of the ivy, which I think we could use. I have some big red flowers, which doesn't work for me. I'm not looking to introduce some red, but I have this last page that has a couple of these sort of light, creamy, buttery yellow kind of flowers, and those could work. So I'm just gonna kind of cut these two big guys out because I want to see how they're going to work on there size-wise, and that's the piece I'm not sure of. Especially this one. Oh, size-wise, I think we're not too bad. So I think I like it sort of with leaves going out and up. And that would be one of the first ones. Now, this is not going to be the easiest surface to transfer onto. First of all, it's flexible. So when I go to kind of transfer on, I am going to have to support it in the back because I don't want to be rubbing so hard. In fabric, you have to rub a little harder on. I'm hoping that because I've got that paint down, that helps it transfer easier. But I'm rubbing down into my fingers. And hopefully that gives a little bit more of a surface so that I don't stretch out my lampshade fabric or create any issues. But I can see, loosened it up, but it doesn't come up. Okay, now it's looking like I loosened it and it's coming off. That would make my life so much easier. Okay. Oh, come on. Oh. Bump me in the face. All right, now it's off. That's better. So I just have to be a little careful. I'm going over ridges and trying to create that continuity of the pattern. It seems to be working. Yes! And that's the first one. Now what I do want to do, I see there's a spot that it's not fully on, is I can go back over it and I can kind of continue to rub it in spot. I do want to burnish this for sure. So rub it down, make sure that I've got that adhering. Before I look at attaching or including any other elements like the ivy or anything like that, I want to put my second large floral on because then that's going to dictate what else I might include and where else I might add it. So because we've got this happening, I am looking at maybe doing the flower the same way and kind of spacing it out. So we're going to have a little bit of space here. And we'll have just about the same space there. So that looks like that's maybe an okay positioning. So I'm just going to attach this one same way, rubbing against my fingers to ensure And then we'll kind of see what it looks like and where else I might need to add. Okay, so now we look at whether or not or how much of these we want to add to fill in. So I'm just going to fill in some gaps. When I'm done with this, I will burnish it once again, and then I am going to seal it. So you can just use like a clear top coat, clear polyacrylic top coat. You could potentially use wax, but I don't think it's the best choice for this given light bulb. So I'm going to seal it with a top coat. I'll use Big Top and let it dry. And then this little project's done. Yay. And here's our finished, still wet. This is actually matte, so you can tell it's wet because it seems a little glossier than it is. But there's our finished little lamp. It's just kind of cute, still a little soft. You know, it's the only thing in that room that will have florals, so it's not going to be competing with any other major patterns. And at least color-wise, this flower is soft enough to kind of go. You know, we did that little table in that blue iris with some coral and some old 57. So, you know, that's a stronger accent. This one's just more of a blending piece. It's not designed to stand out per se, but it's going to be sitting on that little blue iris table. So it needed to have something that was a little bit more monochromatic. But again, I could have left it with just the gray shade, but that's not me. So it had to have a little something, and that's where I went. Now, for a small project like this, I just looked for what transfer pieces I had left. Typically, I won't bother opening a whole big transfer pack just for something this small. But, you know, having said that, have I been known to? Yes. So just really depends upon the nature of the project or what I'm looking for and what I have available. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully you picked up a couple of tips along the way, something that you hadn't thought of or considered. If only, gee, you can paint shades out to match your room if you need to. Always looking forward to hearing your thoughts, your comments, your experiences. Let us learn from you. I'm good with that. And definitely looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, take care.